are actually quick. Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over a Mazda Miata RF. And the exciting thing about this particular car is it is certified pre-owned. So first and foremost, the certification adds a ton of stuff. I'm just going to mention some key points. It actually adds a 12,000 mile warranty to like the basic part of the warranty, and then you get a 70 or 100,000 mile powertrain warranty with it, and then it comes with like a 165 point inspection. There's a bunch of other stuff as well, but those are just some key points. Pretty awesome. And as always, a huge shout out and thank you to the Mazda here in Southtown, Utah for providing us with the Miata. Check out their inventory in the link below. We'll get right into it now. Under the hood of the RF, we have a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine. It is naturally aspirated. Power outputs on it are 181 horsepower and then 151 pound-feet of torque. This particular one has the 6-speed automatic transmission. The 0 to 60 time is about 5.7 seconds with this increased power output compared to the previous year. And then fuel economy, you can get up to 27 around town and then 35 on the highway. Now let's go over the front end on this particular Miata RF. And by the way, this one is finished in the ceramic gray, which is one of my favorite colors just on Mazdas in general. I think it looks really good on this RF. So as you can see, you've got the projector bulbs, and I mean, I know it's daytime, but they're pretty bright when they are on. And then I love the little front splitter here at the front of this one. This one is the Club Sport package, by the way, so that's kind of why it has the extra aerodynamic stuff added to it. But the front end design in general since 2016 on the Miatas, I think is just the best looking that they've ever had. It has this like nice sleek look, aggressive look as well, but you still get the Mazda Miata little spiny face at the front. On the side here, we've got 17-inch rims and then 205mm tires in the front and then in the rear. Now with the Club Sport package, you will get some upgrades with the brakes and the suspensions compared to a regular Miata, which obviously is going to help with handling and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be nice right there. I like how they've done the black rims on this particular one, so it contrasts very nicely with the ceramic on the rest of the car. And then they have like the black accenting on the mirrors as well. And then this is where you can really tell that this is an RF from the side angle, and it just looks so much better compared to the soft top. Here is the key fob on the Miata RF. Pretty simplistic in design. You got the Mazda logo at the top, and then you can actually pull a little key out the back if you ever get locked out. And by the way, the CPO program makes it so that you do get 2 keys, which sometimes is hard to have on a used car, so it's nice that that program kind of guarantees you on that. But you've got the unlock function, the lock, and then the release for the trunk. And well, we're gonna open up the trunk. You just press that, and then obviously you got to do the rest of the work yourself. So you just have to come up and pick it up. And this is a very small car, and obviously that hardtop is going to get rid of a little bit of storage, but honestly, for how small the Miata is, the storage space back here is actually really good, so you could easily take this on a little road trip. Looking at things in the rear, that little Club Sport package adds actually the little spoiler you see in black on the back, and then all of the Miatas are going to have those signature dual exhaust tips at the bottom. And then this is where the car again benefits greatly from the RF design. Just the rear looks so much cleaner, has a nice like coupe design look to it, and I just absolutely love it. Just it looks really good in person. Now coming to the side here, you actually do get keyless entry to lock it and unlock it. And by the way, that mirror does have blind spot monitoring. Now something that's really cool is they actually bring the color to the interior, so you got the ceramic on the interior as well. Now the stitching is kind of like a pinkish red. I think it's very unique. You don't see stuff like that very often. And then I like the leather padding down here, and then they kind of do this trim right here with kind of like the carbon fiber type design, which just again adds to the sportiness. Now this is a 2-seater, so obviously there's no back seats, and with this Club Sport package it does come with cloth seats for the front. They are heated though, and they continue that theme with the stitching. Bolstering on it's really nice, so even if you are a little bit wider, you can still fit in these seats pretty comfortably actually. They are manually adjustable. And then here's a look at what the pedals look like here at the bottom. And then you got your stability control actually over here on the side. I love the little circular vents, another nice little touch. And then there is the steering wheel with the paddles on the back before we fully pop in. Now the Miata is a push button, and since this one's the automatic, you just put your foot on the brake, push the push button, and all that will pop on, and well, the AC is on pretty loud, so we're gonna turn that down. Here's the steering wheel in the Miata, and I actually really like the design on the steering wheel. So the leather all around it is very smooth. They continue that theme with the stitching on the inside of the steering wheel. You have your cruise control on that side, and the other side you get your voice commands, and then your info, phone controls, all of that kind of stuff. In terms of the feel of the steering wheel, I think it's like the perfect size. You do get the paddle shifters on the back to shift the gears yourself. You got the light stock right there, and then the windshield wiper stock on the other side, and that's everything for the steering wheel. Now here are the gauges in the center. You've got the RPMs front and center because this is a sports car. Speed over on the side, and on the other side you just have different bits of information on the car. Now that's like the screen you can kind of configure and go through a couple different menus. If we kind of focus over on that, you see that it gives you different bits of information on the vehicle, tells you when your next servicing is due, your average fuel economy, all that kind of stuff. And so yeah, that's that little screen right there, and that's the whole gauge cluster. Here's the center infotainment system. Now it's pretty cool. You have a little dial you can control everything with, but if you do want to use it as a touchscreen, you can also use it as a touchscreen. So it has dual functionality. So if you prefer the dial or if you prefer a touchscreen, you can do either or. So if I'm gonna go to the navigation, I can press that, or I can use a little dial on it. Now the next thing is the backup camera. So if we quickly pop it into reverse, notice the backup camera will pop up. Now in terms of the viewpoint and resolution, I feel like it's really solid, and this is just a really small car in general, so you don't really need a ton of fancy stuff. Honestly, a backup camera isn't really necessary, but it is mandated by the federal government. It is a single zone climate in the Miata, but worry not, it's really small. I mean, you guys can see, like, it's a small interior, so you don't need a dual zone climate in this car. It'd be kind of overkill. But you've got the controls for the heated seats for the front. You've got a couple areas for USBs. This is the shifter for the 6-speed automatic. It has that stitching in it, and then you can manually shift the gears yourself if you want. You've got the little e-brake, which again continues that theme of the stitching. And then this is what controls the little infotainment system that I showed you earlier. Notice that this is your drive mode select. So if you come up here, you can see that you can put it into sport or take it out of sport. That's it. You got sport mode, you got normal mode. That's all you need in a Miata. And then you have like the world's tiniest center console ever, but I mean, at least it has one. So in the back here, we've got a couple cup holders, and then this is actually what will function as your glove box, is this area back here. And if you're wondering why I said this will function as your glove box, it's because there is no glove box. You've just got this leather padding here with stitching, and then you got the dash, but you have no glove box. So this compartment, that's what's going to do that for you. Now this is the most important feature, and that is the convertible top. So it's pretty simple. All you got to do is just press that button right there, and you got to hold it down, and then you can see the mechanism back there will open. This is kind of like your point of view of what it looks like, but yeah, it does it all for you. And as you can see, it happens pretty quickly with the whole top mechanism in terms of the opening and closing. So you can see it's already fully opened, and then it'll let me know that the operation is complete right there. And then when I do want to close it, all I have to do is just hold it again in that position, and then it'll do the whole operation again. Now you can do this moving, but you have to be moving extremely slow, and they kind of just recommend to mostly do this while you are parked. And almost got my microphone there, but that's the whole top operation. Boom, done. And of course, if you're wondering what the RF looks like with the top down, this is what it looks like from the side, and this is what it looks like from your back angle. And then, well, of course, we got to go over to the front, which is going to take me a second, and there you go. Let's quickly talk about pricing on this RF before we set off. So this particular RF, just because it has the club package and with certification and all that, is in the higher 20s. Now the RFs haven't depreciated as much as I thought they would. They've actually been holding their value pretty well, and it's surprising, right? You'd expect them to depreciate similarly to the soft top Miatas, but it seems like they're just doing better on the used market. So it's one of those cars that you could get, and I mean, it's gonna hold its value pretty well. That all being said though, let's take this RF out and see how it drives. Let's talk about visibility here before we set off in the Mazda Miata RF. So visibility over the hood, it actually looks pretty cool because you have like the two bulges on either side, and it kind of like directs you right where you're going. It's really easy to see out of there. Now through both of the mirrors, it's cool to see the haunches out the back. Visibility is pretty good. Now through the back here, it is okay. It's not the best. There is definitely that blind spot right here with the passenger seat and that pillar. But remember, you do get the blind spot monitoring, so that is going to kind of defeat that whole argument there. And let's set off. So something that's interesting that I didn't show you guys in the walk around because I wanted to wait till now is the cup holders. So you can pull them out whenever you want, and then you can like put one in the front so it like clips, it just goes in there. But like, it's just interesting. You're like, hey, I don't want my cup holder anymore. So then you just pick it up and you put it somewhere else, which not a lot of cars have that. It's different. And this is also the first time that I've ever driven an automatic Miata in my entire life. I'm serious. I've driven obviously Mazda's other cars that have this 6-speed automatic, but I've never driven an automatic transmission Miata. So this will be different for me. And right now I've got it in the automatic mode, and the gear shifts in this normal mode seem to be happening at a relatively quick pace. Now, something that I did notice going over that is this RF doesn't rattle as much as the soft top, which I expected that. Like when you go over stuff, this definitely feels firmer, if that makes sense. And we're gonna be going around our first little turn here to kind of see how the steering feels just in general. And I promise I won't blow through the red light like that Jeep did. So the steering is really light, and in terms of the effort in it, it definitely does feel heavier compared to a regular steering rack, which I like. You want that in a sportier car like this. But we are going to pop it into the sport mode and the manual mode, kind of see how the gear shifts are there. And don't worry, this car has been broken in. It's got about 1,000 miles on it, and so this is like the ideal car to buy used because it's like barely used and it won't be as much as a new one. But we'll get our acceleration here now. Those gear shifts are actually quick. I'm really impressed with the responsiveness on this. I've watched quite a few reviews in the past on Mazda Miatas, and whenever reviewers review the ones with the automatic transmission, they go, oh, don't buy the automatic, it's garbage, all this and that. And it's not as fun and engaging as the manual, but the gear shifts happen at a quick enough pace that it's still a fun car to drive. So if you don't know how to drive a manual transmission and you want a Miata, especially if you want to be able to drive on a daily basis and not have to worry about the hassles of a manual, this automatic is really good. I'm just impressed with it. The downshifts, when I'm not in throttle, I mean, you press it and it's not like super instantaneous, like not as quick as a dual clutch or anything like that, obviously, but it happens. Yeah, this thing's playful around the corners. This feels so quick actually too. Like it's not like crazy fast, like it's not throwing me in the back of my seat, but it's quick for sure. I'm impressed with this. This is actually a really fun car. I'm very surprised by this. And nope, that person's not gonna go. Just have to make sure. People at that light are always weird. The handling on this is great. So here's what I have to say is I think that this Miata RF is definitely the route to go. I love the looks of it. I love the added practicality you get. Like, this would be a car you could drive year round if you wanted to, obviously putting snow tires on it and all that kind of stuff. The automatic transmission is not nearly as bad as what people have stated it to be. And so if you are in the market for a Mazda Miata, then I would definitely at least give the automatic transmission a look. And if you're debating between the soft top and this RF, yes, the RF adds weight, but it's kind of hard to perceive and it looks cooler than the soft top. And yeah, definitely check out a certified pre-owned Miata. Like this one, it's awesome. It's a great deal for what it is. That is gonna sum things up on our video with the Mazda Miata RF in the Club Sport package. And again, a huge shout out and thank you to the Mazda here in the Southtown Auto Mall for providing us with the Miata. Check out their inventory in the link below. I will see all of you in the next video.